Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos una vez más a su espacio de Caribe Empresarial. Yo soy Talina González y hoy tenemos a un gran artista internacional. Él es onabule, quien precisamente nos visita desde Inglaterra a ofrecer un gran concierto a beneficio del CRI Quintana Roo, y también va a participar con la Cancún Big Band aquí desde el Teatro de la Ciudad este viernes 21 de marzo a las 8 de la noche. ¿Cómo estás? Hola.
Hello, how are you, Talina? You good?
Muy contenta y muy feliz, precisamente porque vienes a ofrecer un gran repertorio. ¿Nos quieres platicar acerca de lo que vamos a ver este viernes 21 de marzo en Cancún?
Welcome, please. She's very happy having you. Please let us know about what is your proposal for this concert.
I'm very happy to be here. We're here to work with the amazing Big Band of Cancun to play a repertoire of Afro-Latin music. I thought it was only appropriate. I have African roots, and they're obviously Latin gentlemen, and a lady. So I thought it would be a nice thing to see where the common ground between our two cultures are. I write a lot of music that is rooted in African music that also sounds very much like Latin music. And so I started to realize that there's a connection. And so we're exploring that connection with the big band on Friday.
Ya. Tiene que ver a lo mejor tu origen nigeriano en los ritmos al final, que son de tambores, de ritmos latinos que son parte de nuestros inicios, de nuestra música, con el amor que sientes, y por eso este gran concierto que vas a ofrecer, ¿no?
Absolutely. So many of the rhythms, they have different names, but the instruments have the original West African names. So names like shekere, or conga, or tumba are all Yoruba. They're from my language, and yet I hear them being mentioned in Cuba, in Brazil, in Mexico.
Yes.
So it's amazing. There is a very strong connection there, and I think it's a good way to present music to an audience in Mexico.
Exactamente. Al final son ritmos del corazón, ¿no?
Yes,
entonces
yes,
es universal. Oye, platícame que tú llegaste por primera vez a México en el 2014. Llegaste primero a San Luis Potosí, ¿no? ¿Cómo has visto la evolución de la música desde hace 11 años de que tú viniste por primera vez?
It's difficult for me to say where, because San Luis Potosí is very different to Cancun, and it's very different to Mexico City, and the other places I've visited in Mexico are San Miguel de Allende and Irapuato. So they're all very different places. It's very difficult to chart whether there's been an evolution. What I can say is that the vibe in San Luis Potosí felt almost like a hippie, you know?
Hippie?
Like a cool...
Hippie chic.
Hippie,
Hippie
kind
chic.
of place. Mexico City is more familiar to me because I've grown up in big cities like Mexico City, London, and then in Lagos in Nigeria. You know, so I'm more in tune with Mexico City, but I love San Miguel and, you know, and San Luis Potosí. And Cancun is just fantasy island, really. It's just sun and palm trees. It's magical.
Es mágico. Oye, y en esa magia, y en la magia que tú percibes en la música, ¿qué papel crees que juega precisamente el tema de la conciencia social en la música? ¿Crees que juega algún papel?
Yes, it very much is a part of, I think, who I am. I think I'm very concerned and interested in social issues, how we interact as human beings, and the impact we have on one another. So my music is my opportunity to express myself honestly, you know. So if I'm being honest, if I'm being truthful, then I should represent the way I feel when I'm with my family, when I'm talking to my friends. And these are the things I talk about, you know, when I'm around people that I care about. So it's honest to put it in my music and share it with the world.
Y en esa honestidad, por ejemplo, ¿Cómo se crea o cómo haces las composiciones de tus interpretaciones? ¿Cómo es tu proceso creativo? Sacando esa honestidad de tu música.
Okay, well, I'm always thinking of ideas. I'm always singing. I'm always listening to music. I love interaction with people. And when people tell their stories, you know, they don't know, but I'm thinking, oh, this might make a great song. You know, so I'm always collecting ideas. I'm always collecting interactions. And because I do that, my phone is my most valuable asset because I use it like a dictaphone. I have thousands of vocal ideas and ideas for stories. And then when I go home, I have a studio at home. I more or less live in my recording studio, just taking all these little ideas that I've collected and I bring them together and I move them around and see if I've got a story. But no matter how much of that I do, I usually almost always write an album about the most profound thing that is happening today, you know, and then maybe bring those little ideas that I've heard and include them in that thing. But it's usually the most profound story I've heard today.
Oye, precisamente en la evolución de la música, tú tienes la casa discográfica que es propiedad tuya. ¿Cómo ves ahora el tema de la difusión? ¿Es más universal a través de los medios digitales? ¿Lo estás aprovechando esta situación de la nueva forma de difundir la música?
Interesting. I don't have maybe the biggest digital online following, but the people who've been following me, some of them have been following me for 30 years, and they're very passionate about supporting my music. So even though I'm not very good at working social media in all the ways that it is, I tend to turn up in a town and the few thousand people who've known me for 20 years in that country will turn up to a gig. So I think I'm from another time before social media. I don't need social media only. I don't need only social media to continue to perform my art. Because I started off as a live artist. The emphasis was always on my live music, and so all of my following is garnered from live gigs. And I don't really do a lot of internet-based stuff, in a way.
Sí, tienes que tener las dos, the both, no?
Yes, of course. You mean it's good to have a mixture of both? Is that what you mean? Yes, I guess so. So, for instance, something like Spotify. I have a Spotify account. I don't think I've looked at it for 4 or 5 years, you know, because it's not really, in a way, what I do. What I do is I walk out onto a stage in front of a few thousand people, sing my heart out, connect with them, and go home and go to the next country. So,
¿y qué es lo que te gusta más? ¿Conectar directamente en escenarios como el del viernes, 21 de marzo?
yes,
Everything?
yes, completely. I grew up in West Africa, where music is not a commercial venture. It's not a corporate venture. It's a ceremonial, spiritual thing. So when I sing, that's what I think I'm doing, is I'm making a spiritual connection with people. I guess maybe I'm just a bit too old to think of it as this thing that is about the internet. My brain just goes to, here we are, the people are here, I'm going to sing about love and pain and growth and life and death. We're going to connect and then we're going to go home.
Exacto. ¿Tienes algún tipo de ritual antes de entrar al escenario?
No, I just make sure I do all the disciplined things a good singer should do. You know, so I make sure I drink a lot of water, I do my vocal exercises regularly, and I try to keep in shape so that I can, because I move around on stage a lot, so I don't want to be after every song. So that's it, really.
Oye, y de todos los escenarios que has tocado, como Polonia, Inglaterra, Estados Unidos, Latinoamérica. ¿Qué esperas en estos momentos del concierto del viernes del público cancunense?
Oh, okay, so it's a sunny holiday place. I hope people are more prepared to party here. I hope they have no inhibitions, that they will very quickly get into the groove. You know, some places you go and people are very reserved, and you can tell.
No, England, I'm Mexican.
I know, you see. There you go. So, exactly. So I'm hoping that the Mexican people of Cancun will show up and get ready to move and show me a few new dance steps. That's what I'm looking forward to.
¿Cómo sacas las historias entre cada canción que interpretas? ¿Cómo vas nutriendo tu espectáculo? ¿Cómo basas esas historias?
I don't have a set speech that I make, but most of the songs I perform and I've written, are about things that I have a very visceral experience or connection to. So it's easy to talk about them, and the more you talk about them, the more comfortable you feel, making the story sound interesting. You figure out when the first time I tell a story about a song, it's not so comfortable, it's not so easy, but by the time I've done it 20, 30, 40, 50 times, I know exactly what I'm going to say and how I want to say it.
Oye, ¿cómo fue el brinco? Estabas estudiando Derecho y de pronto decides ser músico cuando regresas a Inglaterra. ¿Cómo se da esa transformación en tu vida?
Singing, but everybody sings in the shower, in the whatever.
As a child?
As a child, I loved music with all my friends. I had singing groups, but I didn't think I was going to be a singer. Everybody told me I was going to be a great lawyer. So I went off to law school and I was doing that and I was happy doing it. I met some great musicians who heard me singing and told me, no, you are a singer. You really are a singer. And I went up a very impromptu gig one night, went on stage with them, and it was transcendental. It was phenomenal.
You have remember the date exactly with I Feel singer, or no?
Yes, not the exact day, but I remember that it was in 1984. I remember it was maybe kind of in the late spring, so maybe like May, because it was a month later, just before my final exams in law, I dropped out of university, and decided I'm gonna be a musician for the rest of my life.
Pues muchas felicidades. Todos los desafíos que has enfrentado en tu carrera, actualmente, ¿cuáles consideras el más difícil que has superado hasta este momento?
That's a big question. Wow, the hardest goal I've conquered. It's not really related to music, actually. It's about being a good father to my children.
Yeah.
That is difficult. That is some difficult stuff. Being a good parent, figuring it out through the different stages. There's the bit where you're just trying to keep them alive because they're just young and then they can't speak. And my children are quite, they're grown up. And the problems that you have to help them solve never stop, but also the problems that you have to make sure you don't leave them with, that you don't you take all of your neuroses and psychoses and put on them. Avoiding all of that is some of the most difficult stuff I've ever done in my life.
Fíjate que habla muy bien el que hables así, que prefieras ser padre a ser músico, a lo mejor, que es lo más importante, la parte del personal, la parte del ser humano, que de artista. Eso me encanta. ¿Cómo te gustaría ser recordado? Si tuvieras que poner en tu epitafio, ¿cómo te gustaría ser recordado? ¿Qué palabras tendrías ahí?
He always tried to do his best, I guess.
Siempre trató de
Siempre haciendo las cosas bien. Te agradezco muchísimo.
Thank you.
Van a tener un gran concierto precisamente este viernes 21 de marzo en el Teatro de la Ciudad a las 8 de la noche. Y recuerden que tiene este jueves 20 2x1. Así que acérquense por favor a taquilla o bien también podemos a ticket.com. Así que ya lo saben, a través del Teatro de la Ciudad van a poder disfrutar un gran concierto con onabule.
Thank you.
Con Cancún Big Band, una gran orquesta, así que no se lo pueden perder. Muchísimas gracias, soy Talina González, y por supuesto estuvimos acompañada
Thank you.
de un
Thanks
gran
for having
cantante.
me.
Así que ya lo saben, yo soy Talina González. Gracias.